Matthew Stafford is going to return in 2025. I guess start here, see, Rob. I didn't think this was some great, like, I kind of figured he would be back, right? Like, I don't know. Maybe, did I miss something? You thought maybe he was stepping away?
So, okay, in the preseason, remember, there was that whole issue with like Matt Stafford's contract. It was weird. It was like, what's going on? He's not practicing. Like, is there some sort of issue with his contract right now? And the Rams were real coy about it. Even Stafford was kind of coy about it. And so the day I go in for training camp, they had flattened out this contract issue. Nobody knew the details yet, but Stafford was practicing. Things were back to normal, but it was clearly kind of a weird moment. Like what had happened here? Had Stafford said, look, I'm not going out there unless there's an adjustment on the contract. So when I talked to somebody at the Rams, and I mean, I won't say who it was, but now I can kind of reveal this conversation because at the time it was something that was held in confidence. When they went back to the table, basically the Rams said, look, we'll put more guaranteed money we're going to slide up some guaranteed money. We're going to pay you more in 2024. But ultimately what that's going to do, it's going to take guaranteed money off the table for 2025. So if we want to walk, we're going to walk. We don't have to keep you. So if you play poorly in 2024 and we're like, this is, he's gone off the ledge, it's done. It's time for us to move on from Matt Stafford. We're going to have that ability. But by the same token, Matt Stafford is also, he basically could sit there and say, nope, we have to have an adjustment. I'm coming back in 2025. And if not, you're going to have to release me. I think it's like a $4 million cap hit. You're going to have to release me and I'll have my own little run of free agency to finish out my career. So that kind of hung over the whole season. Is Stafford going to be here or not? Both parties kind of have this chance to walk away. It gives some flexibility. Now Stafford has made it known he's coming back for 2025. That puts the Rams in a position where they got to make a decision because contractually, the number's insane to keep him. I think it's like $50 million. I have to look at the number again to drill down on, but it's like $50 million, right? Ultimately, I think to keep him for 2025. That's not going to happen. So they have to come to some kind of a number. And I think Sean McVay, this is one of the things that he said after the season. He wanted some kind of decision. Is Stafford going to be back or not? I want that sooner rather than later because they have a lot of work to do at the quarterback position to ultimately replace him if he's not going to be there. So Stafford this is the first chess move. Stafford saying, I'm coming back. Now we got to figure this out financially in a way that keeps me either with the Rams or I'm going to be jettisoned. I think from speaking to people in that organization, I think there's every inclination to have Matt Stafford be their quarterback in 2025. I think they feel good about it. I think they feel good about where he is at physically. I think they feel like they can continue to improve the team around him. Plus, they have a lot of young guys that have, are still taking strides forward. There's going to be some changes. I don't think Cooper Kupp's going to be there. So there's going to be some tune-ups that happen in terms of the roster. But now the pressure's on the Rams now because you have to sort out a deal, and it's really going to be a one-year deal. That's what the Rams want to do. I think Matt Stafford can live with that, but they have to come up with a one-year deal that makes Matt Stafford feel like, okay, I'm good. It's not going to be the $50 million that ultimately it could have been, but I feel financially taken care of. And that's one domino that then falls in the off-season quarterback market. And it's pretty big. There's a number of veteran quarterback questions right now we have heading into the off-season. So this is the first one.
Real quick, Charles. I mean, you talked about the Rams want Stafford back, and I don't see why not. Like, what's their option, right? Like, who's their quarterback if it's not Matthew Stafford?
Right.
We're sure Matthew Stafford wants to be back with the Rams. Like, he could play hardball here if he wants. Like, he could make it really difficult. I assume Stafford wants to be back with the Rams, but do you as well? I mean, do you think that that's what he wants at this point in his career?
Yeah, I do. I think it. Look, the first question I have is, what are the alternatives? Where are you going to go? The Niners. You're not going to the Niners. You're not going to. I mean, realistically,
any spot's going to be bad. It's going to be worse than the Rams.
It's going to be worse than the Rams, and he's already got what? He's got the respect. He lives in the community. His wife is happy. He's got a happy family situation. Like everything. Like it would just be a massive disruption. So there is some leverage on the Rams' part going, well, where are you going? You're going to go play for the Jets?
The Browns?
Yeah. Like, where are you going to go? Like you're not, the Browns couldn't even afford him, right? Yeah. The Titans, the Raiders. I mean, realistically, the best spot for him is to remain where he is, but there is some leverage on both sides. I mean, as much as the Rams don't want to move on from him, I think if Matt Stafford's like, it's $50 million or bust, the Rams are going to go, yeah, that's not happening. Like, it's not going to be a $50 million payday in 2025. So we got to figure this out.
Don't the Rams have to at some point figure out what their future plan looks like? I mean, this isn't the draft to do it, but my God, like if he decides not to play, then it feels like they take a huge.
It might be the draft to do it, though. I mean, here's the thing. I know it's not a great quarterback draft. We know that. We've talked about that ad nauseum. We're going to continue to talk about that. Everyone's going to focus on Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders and say it's a 2 quarterback draft. It's not as bad as the Kenny Pickett class, by the way. I keep hearing people say, oh, it's like, Kenny Pickett. And then, when Malik Willis, fell in that draft. No, this is a better quarterback draft than that. And I do think that there are options on the table, like, Jaxson Dart. What happens with him? Is he a second round pick? If he's a second round pick, could the Rams potentially get themselves in position to take him in the second round? And then you have your developmental quarterback behind Stafford, because I don't think, it's not going to be Stetson Bennett. I don't think there's not an answer behind Stafford right now, but Stafford coming back in 2025. And if they do look at, let's say, a player like Dart, who I think would fit in very, very well, given at least the element of athleticism that he has, his ball placement, his accuracy. I think he could definitely work with Sean McVay. He'd probably be a great option to back up Matt Stafford and get a year learning that offense, which is, it's a bear. So it's not in terms of like taking a quarterback high in a draft. No, obviously this is not the situation they ultimately want to be in. But I think if that's another leverage point for Stafford. He knows, look, you're going to groom a guy. You want me here, right? You don't want to just trot a guy out on the field immediately, especially in this kind of a quarterback draft. You take someone a little further down the board, and it makes sense that you have a developmental piece to step in when I retire.